When we come into a social situation, meeting new people, we're all familiar with the first two questions that we always get asked. What's your name and what do you do? In my case, when I answer those questions, my name is Andrew Ward and I'm a professor of strategy, I often get asked a third question. What is strategy? That question can have many different answers. There's lots of people that have put out lots of different definitions of strategy. I like to think of strategy as simply an intention. What does the organization intend to do and how does it intend to do it? If you've ever been on an interview, a job interview, you've probably been asked the question, where do you want to be in 10 years? Or where do you see yourself in 10 years? That question is asking for your intention, but it's also asking for your process. What the interviewer is really wanting to know is, do you have a goal in mind? Do you have somewhere that you want to be in 10 years? But also, have you thought about what it takes to get there? Do you understand the process it takes to get from where you are today to where you're projecting you might be in 10 years? And it's not to say that you're going to achieve it. As anybody who's been asked that question in the past and that 10 years has elapsed, you know that you're probably not doing exactly what you said you were going to be doing in 10 years. Life happens. Lots can happen in the interim, right? There are things that change with yourself, your priorities, your expectations, your desires of where you want to go change. But also other things happen. Events happen, opportunities arise, opportunities get shut down. And so there are lots of things both in terms of your own self and the external environment that change, that might prevent you from being where you thought you'd be in 10 years. But at the same time, where you end up in 10 years may be as good or better than where you intended to go. The same is true for organizations. Strategy is really about that intention, about where the organization wants to get to and how it's going to get there. And just like for an individual, there are lots of things that can stop the organization from getting there. There are internal things. There are the capabilities of the organization. There may be different priorities that change within the organization. You may get changes in management. The CEO might change and come in with a different direction for the company. So all of those things might prevent the company from reaching a strategic outcome that they had intended to go to. There may be external things, right? Competitors that come along, regulations that change, different technologies that develop, and other forces that kind of shift and force the organization to pivot. But at the same time, the organization can adjust its strategy. Strategy is not a one-time thing, right? It's not something that a company does, sets that goal, and kind of never rethinks that. But strategy is just an ongoing process that, yes, at the beginning of the firm sets these goals, sets a vision of where it wants to be, has an intention, has that process, is thinking about the steps it needs to get to achieve that strategy. But as the environment changes, the organization also needs to shift and adjust that strategy. Because strategy really is all about getting the organization to fit with the environment. So as the environment is now, the company wants to be in a particular place to fit with that environment and meet the demands and needs of that environment. But as that environment shifts, so the company and the strategy of the company also needs to shift to meet that environment. And think of a company like Amazon, which I'm sure you're familiar with, right? When Jeff Bezos founded Amazon as an online bookseller, Did he envision what it was going to turn into today? Probably not, right? He may have even had the idea and ambition at that point to be an online retailer with categories beyond books, but as you know, Amazon has expanded way beyond that into cloud services, into grocery stores, into movie production, all of these different areas which were not necessarily in that original vision for the organization, but as the marketplace has evolved, as the conditions have evolved, and as the success of Amazon has grown and developed, it's enabled them to continue to build capabilities and go beyond that original manifestation of the company as an online bookseller. And so it is for all sorts of companies. And any sort of company, as they start, they may have a goal, but they're going to pivot and adjust their strategy as they go along. So as we're thinking about strategy, as we're thinking about how a firm implements and develops strategy, we've got to remember that it's a dynamic process. It's something that changes over time. It's something that is a company is consistently working on as they go through time.